And earlier you said that Democrats really shouldn't base their entire campaign around being anti-Trump. So what specific kitchen table issues are you seeing they should really be focusing on gearing up to the next election?
Public education is a huge issue. We're seeing a lot of different legislation on schools coming out of states like Florida and Texas and some of these other really red states. So coming up with a counter proposal to some of those things or ways to protect schools and their funding would be a really good idea. Housing has been a huge issue all across the country, and homelessness has been on the rise due to the cost of living. So maybe some sort of proposals around that. And then we all know healthcare has been the ongoing issue for the past several years. So coming up with more strong solutions to expand Medicare, Medicaid, and give people more access to affordable health care.
Amani, as we sit here now, we're about 10 months out from the Iowa caucus, so we are really gearing up to the next presidential election, if you can believe that. So in all of your experience, what is the most important aspect to make a campaign successful?
Having the vision and the grit to really see it through. When I'm working on campaigns, I've talked to a lot of people who don't fully understand just what comes with campaigning. Sometimes it's something that people want to do on the side, or it's something that the title is admirable to them, so they're pursuing it to have that name, but there's a lot more that goes into campaigning that a lot of people don't think about. So I think just having a strong plan and understanding that it's not going to be easy, and having a strong why that will hold you and see you through to election day is very important.
Can we talk about that a little further? You're saying that there's a lot of surprises that come with campaigning. What exactly are those surprises? Give us a behind the scenes look. What might people not realize goes into campaigning?
Campaigning requires a lot of time, and it is not something that you can do on the side. There's a lot of people who are working class people who aspire to run for office, and they still have a full-time job, and your campaign is going to become your second full-time job. You may work 9 to 5, and you may have to stay up from 5 to 12 a.m. to work on your campaign, to do your call time. Call time is something that a lot of people aren't familiar with, and they don't know that they have to do it, which is calling local voters and donors, and you might be calling them cold. You may know nothing about these people, and you have to initiate these conversations in the district, and that's something that a lot of people aren't aware of. So just being able to extend yourself and making yourself fully and completely available to the campaign at all times is going to be a big ask for a lot of people, but it is required because it is something that takes your full attention, and it is not an easy or oftentimes a fun journey.
I want to talk about what makes a person a star in a race. And right now I'm thinking just in recent history on the Democratic side, I'm thinking the last election, Pete Buttigieg. He rose as a mayor of a small town in Indiana. Now he's in the Biden administration. I'm thinking about Beto O'Rourke. What makes these candidates stars from everyone else?
There's a level of charisma that is required to run for office, and I don't think that part is talked about enough. You can have the vision, you can have the excellent plan, but you have to have a way with people that makes them want to invest in you and believe in you, especially when you're running for a big seat like a president's or a U.S. Senate seat. Those are some of the largest seats that you can run for in the country, and you're going to be representing hundreds of thousands of people in the presidential elections, millions of people once you're elected. So not only do you have to get somebody to buy into your vision, into your platform, into your plans, but you have to get them to buy into you as an individual and kind of build almost a cult-like following of big enough people to support you. And that is one thing that I know. I live in Texas, and I absolutely love Beto O'Rourke so much because he is a genuine person. He has something about him that shows that he genuinely cares and he's passionate about the issues, but he also knows Texas and he loves Texas, and he was able to create a platform that spoke to the voters, which is really important for people to be able to do.
I have a segment called Eye on Iowa that my colleague, Sarah Mueller, she is on the ground in Iowa, and she's talking to everyone about the Iowa caucuses as we're running up to them. And oftentimes we discuss, is that a candidate I could have a beer with? So that harkens back to your point of you need that charisma. Is that something that's teachable, or is that one of those traits you either have it or you don't?
I absolutely think it's one of those things you either have or you don't have. You can do some media training, you can do some polishing, but the raw material has to be there.
Got it. And what common pitfalls on campaigns do you see that people fall into that makes their campaign fail versus succeeding?
A level of investment. Campaigns, one thing about them, they are expensive to run. And finding a team that you can trust, a team that is skilled, a team that perhaps might be unionized, those things are not cheap. And campaigns are not something that you should be cheap with. So that's one of the biggest things I see is people sometimes trying to cut corners and weigh or rely too heavily on the volunteers instead of finding competent campaign staff. I think that that is something that people should put more of time in, more energy in, and finding a staff that you feel like can support you all the way through election day that's going to be able to meet your needs and meet the campaign's needs and know more about campaigning than you personally. Because a lot of people who run for office have never done this before, or maybe they've done it a couple times, but investing in a team that can uplift you and see you through to victory is really important. And there should be no corners cut on that part of the journey.